Let's check in his pits with Dave Burns.
And Jason Leffler with a problem on track too, guys. Tony's car popped out of gear, and one of the things he was saying that he just said 79. It went to 7,900 on the rev limiter, but that's why he dropped way back.
Oh, he got a little bit of a tap from behind. Yeah, turned him straight into the fence.
Yeah, you know, this is part of the buck drafting that goes on here. And I think this is just a product of that.
Top of 2 now. Top of 3 again.
It looked like a pretty straight bump, but it turned Jason Leffler's car to the right and got him in the wall. He didn't have much room to work with.
Yeah, you know, and sometimes you're actually right there in that position.
That just capitalizes a frustrating and disappointing season so far for Jason Leffler.
All right, Jamie, well, contact, and Ward Burton is tapped. His car gets sideways. There's Rudiman's car sliding broadside into turn 1. Other cars up against the wall, against the concrete.
Keep it up straight. You're okay, okay. Just lock her down, lock her down. All right. We didn't hit nothing, guys. Keep rolling. When you get a chance, keep rolling. Pace car's just off of 2 there.
And Ward Burton's car was running second. Got a tap from the high side. He tried to avoid the car coming down. Let's see if we can see what happened here a moment ago. Now watch the 2 car and the 27 of Ward Burton.
Just a light tap there, but these cars are they have so little downforce on this kind of racetrack, and they're kind of they're making a pretty good turn right through the tri-oval too. And
yeah,
once they make contact,
yeah, you don't realize just how much, in looking at this racetrack, how much steering you have in the car through the tri-oval, and it doesn't take much. And it looked like Ward, there's a seam right there in the racetrack where, after this was repaved, when you're right down against the yellow line and you get to that first white line, there's a seam right there, and actually your car will get in that, and it'll actually move one way or the other. And it looks like maybe Ward's right front got in there and went up the racetrack just a little bit. I'm just guessing that happened because I've had it happen in my car before.
Here's Martin Truex onboard camera. He goes up and he boom!
Hit the wall, guys.
Oh, he hit the wall pretty hard, DJ.
Yeah, we didn't see that as we were talking about the 29. Yeah, this looks like it's going to put an end to that streak.
Martin Truex, who had won 3 in a row, and now damage at the right side of that car after pancaking the wall. Here's Mike Wallace on board with the Geico Chevy.
Backer. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Blue, that's it, go. You're clear.
So Mike Wallace uses his spotter and does a great job of getting low and avoiding the accident at Talladega. Well, lap number 9, it breaks loose on the front straightaway. A tap between Boyer and Burton, and suddenly we've got a dozen cars spinning back with the green in a moment.
Between his own race cars. So what did he do? He implemented a specialized team completely dedicated to restrictor plate racing. Less than a dozen people. Oh, and we've got trouble on the track, and it's Kyle Busch upside down.
Big time crash. Kyle Busch goes upside down and rolls down across on his roof here on lap 26. Cars comes back over, and now side over side barrel rolls and comes to rest on its wheels. A horrific crash here at Talladega on lap 26 involving Kyle Busch, and thankfully the window net is down. There's the safety of 5 car.
He moved to the outside to go around Casey Mears. It looked like Tony was going to go out there to help him, and it could have possibly been a little bit of contact. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be, because you can get yourself out there and all of a sudden the air's changing, and just a horrific wreck. But once again, Kyle Busch gets out and walks away.
We sure did a lot of damage. But it looked to me like right here, as we watch this, it looked like that maybe they all started stacking up. It's hard to say that, you know, Tony Stewart wasn't getting some help from behind, or maybe even further back than right behind him. Like they were all just kind of stacking up.
Yeah. Yeah, when that happens, usually because everything changes, the air changes, and what you've been doing right there, you might have been wide open at that time, and then all of a sudden things change. And so, you know, you can't put any blame on anybody, I don't think, here. Although I think we do see a little contact between the 33 and the 5. But when he pulls out there, that car is automatically going to start coming back a little bit, because he's come out against a brick wall of wind right there. Even though he's got to run, that car automatically slows down when he pulls out there until he starts getting that help.
So but if you're Tony Stewart and you're trying to get out of the gas and you're getting hit from behind, have you ever had that happen where you get hit from behind and you can't actually slow your car down and try to avoid that wreck?
Somewhat reminiscent of the Brian Vickers, Jimmy Johnson contact in the Cup race last fall. Inconsequential, wasn't intended to happen. One car makes a move, another one just gets a slight tap, and off they go. On board here with David Rudiman.
3 wide. Bracket, back it down, stay high, good job.
Hey, you can see the tire flying up through the air. David Rudiman just went under the tire. It looked like he just ripped it right off.
It all to have a problem, and there's a 25 car of 31-year-old David Gilliland, and here's what happened to him just a moment ago.
Well, it looked like David had thoughts. He had a push from the 33 car of Tony Stewart, and he had thoughts of going around Casey Mears, the leader, on the outside. But Tony was just basically faking him out and went to the inside, and then David tried to cover that spot and just wasn't there for him to get back down.
Yeah, that's a risky move when you pull down in front of somebody that's coming like that. And, you know, it might, especially at this point of the race, it might have been better just to stay up a lane than to risk something to get clipped. But this is a fairly aggressive move by Tony. He's kind of pushing him up through there and trying to go for that spot. And I think Dave Burns, you've got more on Tony Stewart.
That's right, Andy. Been monitoring his radio, and he said right after that, he said, David can't just come down and try to cover that position every time.
A push from Greg Biffle to send him up there. Now he's going to need Biffle to get back to his bumper, or he's going to be hung out on the outside once again.
Yeah, the 42 car has been consistently at the front all day.
Right.
And trouble on a racetrack. A couple of cars involved. Biffle in the 16 car down across the grass. There's Greg Biffle sliding the former champion. John Wood in the 47 car.
Okay. Somebody got us in the right rear, guys. Turned his head on in the wall.
So caution for the 5th time a day, and John Wood.
Oh, we see a big hard bump draft right there, and that was just, there was just too much closure rate. They were coming too fast into each other.
Yeah, and he was pushing him to the 42, and then the 16 car, Greg Biffle, couldn't go any further, and he got one more big shot, and that turned him to the right into the wall.
Biffle at 190 plus miles an hour with that Ford Fusion comes across and just catches the right rear fender of John Wood. As we ride on board now with the 90 car of Stephen Light and see his point of view.
Good job, man. Good job. All right, talk to me when you get a chance. Just a little.
Oh, John Wood just can't catch it right. John Wood was one of those cars laying back with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte and those guys. He'd been back in that other pack, and it looked like he had just kind of started.
Here, come on.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, caution once again. Right side of your screen, watch the 20 car, and right behind him is Ward Burton. As his car goes around and goes up across the racetrack. Great job by Bobby Labonte in the 77 to miss him, but he does have contact with the concrete.
Yeah, you could see as they were coming through the corner there that things were kind of stacking up. Everybody looked like they were kind of settling in for a few laps, single file down on the bottom, but they got to jamming up. And before it was over, Ward Burton was getting hit from behind, and then he got into the 20 car.
Clear out.
And that's another one of those cases to where it's really, I don't know that you can say it's anybody's fault. It's just everybody's running into each other. Mike Bliss in the 22 is behind Ward Burton, and they're all just hitting each other in the corner. And you know, I've said it many times before, if we're going to run into each other in the corners, things are probably going to happen.
On board here is the David Rudiman onboard camera for the Aaron Stream machine.
Stay low. All right, good job.
Well, how valuable are spotters here to help you when all that smoke is billowing in front of your windshield to be able to trust what you're hearing. All right, pit road is open. There are 15 laps to go in the field.
But he's lost that now as Ward Burton takes that spot away from him.
Yeah, they can't seem to get organized in that outside lane like they were earlier.
Whoa, contact. Stephen Wallace gets sideways. He is tapped from behind. And this is the one no one wanted, the big one late, and Stephen Light has nowhere to go head on into the 41 car. There's the 90 car of Stephen Light, who was having such a great run as the 41 car of Reed Sorensen got spun around. And looks like the 66 car of Stephen Wallace might have gotten a little tap. His car abruptly turned sideways, and boy, that Stephen Wallace cannot catch a break either. They have had miserable luck the last 3 or 4 events. And here, watch the 66 car.
Look in. He's up against the car right in front of him, who was Casey Kane, but he's still getting that push from behind because Reed Sorensen can't see that he's totally against that car, and that's where it just gets down to the end of this race, and we start. I say we do it in the Cup race too. You start running into each other and trying to help them get to the front as fast as you can.
Yeah, we heard Greg Biffle talking about it. That if you can't see through these race cars, so you can't tell what the guy in front of you is dealing with, and they just start stacking up. Can't really put the blame on one person here. It's just all kind of shared back through there.
Yeah, I'm sure Steven, he's probably got a foot on the brake because he's right against the 9 car, but he's getting hit hard from behind, and then he just shoots him right out of the pack. We've been fortunate all day that we haven't really had very many cars involved in these accidents at a time, but we got down to the end when it was time to try to win, and people like Stephen Light, unfortunately, that weren't even a part of the beginning of this get involved.
Well, at least a half a dozen cars damaged in this big one here with less than 10 laps to go. As you're right on board with Stephen Light in his City Financial Ford, let's watch what he saw just a moment ago off of turn 2. Reigning champion right on his bumper as we go green flag for the final laps at Talladega. It'll be white flag this time by these drivers. Hard with that right foot all the way down on the floor. Here comes the high line. That's exactly where Tony Stewart couldn't go, but that's where he is gone.
Kevin Harvick tried to make that move that Andy was talking about, but I don't think that he got out there in time. And Tony Stewart now is in the lead with Bobby Labonte pushing him.
Wow, what a move up from 5th place coming off turn 2.
Tony Stewart has gone around the outside to take the lead, and the white flag. It'll be Stewart's first lead today.
But he's got a big lead, and that could be a problem by the time he gets to the backstretch. Yeah, this could hurt him for sure because he's got almost too much of a lead. With 1 lap to go, these guys are going to have some momentum on him.
And watch the outside. There's a 60 car of Carl Edwards, the points leader. Stewart now gets a help from the 77 car of Bobby Labonte. Mears is there, but let's see if the high line works again. But this time it is Harvick and Edwards.
Is Bobby Labonte going to leave his wingman with his teammate Tony Stewart, or is he going to try to go for the win here? We see steam coming out of the car, out of the 77 car, tucked right up behind Tony Stewart.
And Harvick is now getting a little bit of a push from the 42 car. That's how close it is with Montoya right behind Kevin Harvick. Does he have enough time to get there? Tony Stewart with a push from Bobby Labonte. Mears is 3rd. Reagan is 4th. Here comes Labonte on the outside. They come to the tri-oval. Remember, the start-finish line is here.
And he gets it.
And